Right, I wanted to talk about some further changes I made to these two Arturia Rackbrutes. Um, so of course, I decided I would go with this black theme. I painted these side cheeks as well as the aluminum arms here. Of course, using etching paint and matte black, and then varnish them. That turned out, I think, pretty well. And of course, you can buy black Rackbrutes now, but of course, I didn't want to sell these and buy new ones. And it has this kind of gray theme still here, where the black Rackbrutes are black. And then you can see all of the nuts. I changed it out to a gray and black theme, gray and black out with all of them. And I also added this little MIDI controller that came out from Thing Modular. Sort of sticks on the side, and because it's on the side, it still fits in the bag. And I can control the Hector bitbox as well as the Hermod Plus with that. And just for those of you who didn't see the previous video, I put these 1U panels down here, as well as these 2 HPs through here. So attenuator, offset, low pass gate, and then that 2 HP stereo module. Can't remember what it's called, where you have like 8 ins, puts it in the different stereo field. And then up here, Dazzle is that mutable instruments VCA that you can do ring mod with. And then there's a 2 HP kick drum, snare, hi-hats, and then a mixer, FX, and then attenuator, offset. And on the back, although I hardly use these, it's just kind of if needed. You have a malt. Of course, this is a USB, another USB, which is really useful. This is a wave adder, gate adder, distortion. This is a switch, so here to here, and the same here, and then 2 attenuators. And then down here we have Bubblesound boost, reducer, and then down over here we have an adder from Joranalogue. And then this thing's actually pretty fun. It sends out, you put a gate in, and it gives you a sort of probability of which gate comes out. And then this fun thing from IntelliGel sensor, you can for CV and gate, push on that, and that's easy to reach around from the front. I use that quite a bit actually. And then, you know, I think you can, people talk about never having enough VCAs, but honestly this bestie is pretty awesome. I usually run this in, and it takes eurorack signals pretty well. It starts to distort around here instead of here, but otherwise this thing's awesome. And I usually run that through the stereo channel in the endorphins cockpit. Yeah, so that's it. And the idea is that you can sort of just, you know, these here are higher than the knobs, so you can set it down and put it in the bag as well, and you won't crush the knobs when you put it down. Of course, you have to use like cables that have a angle to them, but as long as you do that, it's all good. One other thing I added, and as my cousin pointed out, next thing I need is a Bunsen burner on here. A Bunsen burner on here. You can put this on here and tighten that down. If you can see that, and you can hang the cables. And I have them all tied up. Put them on there if you want. Especially useful if you're playing live and working through a patch live. Although that would be crazy to do. And then, you know, easily take it off. and screw those back in. So yeah, curious what you think. Cheers. Alright, I'm just sanding them so the primer gets some grip. Further recess these so that the paint doesn't bubble up around here. Well, it still might. Anyway, little 220 gives something to primer to grab onto. Here I'm using some adhesion promoter. It's basically a sticky liquid that helps the primer stick onto plastic. It's probably an unnecessary step, but it was free. It came with the primer, so thought I'd give it a go and see what happens. Right, using self-etching primer on the aluminum. And of course make sure you're wearing a mask. Alright, I just used this varnish. Should have used lacquer, but this is nitrocellulose varnish, which mates very well with the nitrocellulose paint I used, or nitrocombi rather. You know, it's a very thin coat, incredibly thin, just for minor scratches and things like that to protect the paint. Also water and things like that, and also UV. Anyway, it turned out really well. I think when it dries it'll be a little bit more matte. It's unfortunately a little more satin than I'd wanted.